Si Liga hubiese ganado la llave de ayer o no hubiese clasificado, yo hubiese dado a Liga favorito, porque era la altura de Lima, más o menos, y esto le ayuda mucho a Liga y hubiese complicado un poco a Flamengo. Pero ahora ya, pues, ya la verdad, a mí no me importa quién gane. Es una final que a mí personalmente no me parece atractiva. Ayer yo decía imposible que Liga no llegue al menos a penales, no llegó a penales. Lo de Racing lo vi un poco más complicado, pero hombre, a mí me hubiera gustado que Liga llegara ayer, porque es que es una rivalidad de todos contra Brasil. Ya ni siquiera
Sí,
Argentina está al mismo nivel, pero en algo que sí no concuerdo es que Argentina no está 3 niveles abajo que Brasil. Argentina está un paso abajo, pero lo que es Colombia, Ecuador, 2, 3, hasta 4 pasos, y si contamos Venezuela, Bolivia, ya ni están en competencia. O sea, hace mucho no vemos un equipo
Pero Cami,
boliviano, un equipo venezolano que esté haciendo la guerra.
claro, pero Cami, yo quisiera ahí decir algo rápido, es que sí, o sea, está bien decir el tema de Argentina, pero se los digo, o sea, aparte de Racing no hay nada ni nadie. O sea, nada
sí,
ni nadie.
River
Y lo
no
preocupante es que
compitió.
o sea, por debajo de Racing, para mí sí están 3 escalones por debajo. Entonces, para mí sí es importante decir que en ese momento Argentina está por debajo, a
Sí,
excepción de Racing.
Lo que decía ahorita, Cami, yo creo que lo de ayer, o sea, de hecho, cuando ustedes ven, no sé si pueden ver el partido, yo creo que sí, o sea, la cara de los de la Liga de Quito en el himno era una cara de pánico, era una cara de miedo, o sea,
sí, como
o sea,
diciendo, no,
o
no
sea,
puedo
no
creer que
sé,
estamos en
sí,
esta
no, o
instancia.
sea, y aparte como ellos los ven, o sea, como que los ecuatorianos los veían a los brasileños como en otra, o sea, como en otro nivel, los miraban como, no sé, como si fueran sus ídolos, y yo creo que ahí es donde parte el error, o sea, tenerles miedo a sus rivales, creo que de ahí parte, o sea, cierta derrota, y para mí o sea, no es por nada, compañeros, pero tener una diferencia, o sea, lo que dice Cami es verdad, una diferencia de 3 goles y las pierdas y que por lo menos no alargues los empates, o sea, la verdad, o sea, muy pecho frío,
Para
Cami, ¿o
mí,
no?
Claro.
Muy pecho
para mí
frío.
la jugada de inflexión ayer.
Is this really the fault of the Brazilian league? Yeah, you could say a little bit, but financially, they've just done smart business. They have massive, massive memberships throughout all the clubs, and the other leagues are just run poorly. Go look at the Argentinian league, people. This guy Tapia, who has rat poisoning hairstyle. I mean, his hairstyle is the worst I've ever seen in my lifetime. He wants to have a 30-team league. The Brasileiro has given you a blueprint on how to run a league or other leagues around Europe. 20 teams, a couple get relegated, a couple qualify to the Copa Libertadores, a couple qualify to the Copa Sudamericana. I don't need a PhD, I don't need a master's in just financial or advertisements to understand that having 30 teams, one is going to dilute the competition, and two, there's no point in it. That's not how you're going to generate the revenue within this. So I don't know how on earth this is going to stop. Like the Brazilian teams right now are just dominating. And even if we look at the transfer business from last summer between all the South American leagues, the Brazilian team spent 204 million. Now, granted, they got in about 400 million of income within talents. The Argentinian league spent 61 million, got 154 million in transfers. Colombia, 7 million. Paraguay, 4 million. The second division of Brazil spent more than Uruguay, Ecuador, Peru, Chile, and Bolivia. And Venezuela, too. Um, yeah, that just says everything to you. If you're not like a avid viewer of CONMEBOL football, or if you don't really keep up with the Copa Libertadores, this is only the beginning. And I saw it when it was Flamengo versus Atletico Paranense when there was the final in Ecuador. I was like, oh no, this is only going to continue because I saw the power of the financial amount these teams have over all the other leagues. Like they're able to get all the young talents from Argentina. They're able to get the young talents from Uruguay to Colombia to Ecuador, unless they go straight to Europe. All the other talented players around South America, they all want to go to the Brasileiro. One, because it's by far the best league. Competitively, it's good. Financially, it's great for the players. And four, you got amazing fan bases. It's like a marketing dream for all of these players. Maybe get some notoriety in Europe. And we saw how well the Brasileiro teams did at the Club World Cup. It was phenomenal performance from them. I mean, Fluminense, who was arguably the worst before the tournament, made it all the way to the semifinals. So, like, the Brasileiro has just done phenomenally well for itself. But this just screams dominance, dominance, and dominance. And I think that's something that Filipe Luis also talked about after the game when his team advanced to the final, knocking out Racing. He said, it's thanks to the economic power, no doubt. Better players, more chances to compete for titles. Today in Brazil, there are clubs with the same financial power as European clubs. We have players who have had higher paying offers from European teams, and Flamengo managed to keep them. It doesn't guarantee winning, but with better players, you have a higher chance. Yeah, you do, Filipe Luis, and that's why Palmeiras, Flamengo, Botafogo last season, to Atlético Mineiro, to Fluminense a couple years ago, as long as they're able to keep some of their talent, splurge some money on other players around Europe, maybe former Brazilian players or Gonzalo Plata, for example, going to Flamengo, you're going to build a super team in South American standards nowadays. And Filipe Luis is right. As long as they have the economic power, Brazil, they'll keep dominating. I think this is going to get to like 10 to 15 years, people, of just Brasileiro teams winning the Copa Libertadores. And you know how egregious that will be on all the other leagues around South America? Now, granted, you know, a Peruvian team, a Chilean team, a Bolivian team, a Venezuelan team, if they ever won the Copa Libertadores, it would be a minor miracle, one of the greatest stories ever. But you look more at like the Colombian league. You know, you had Atlético Nacional, who was great in the mid-2010s, to obviously River, Boca, Nacional, Peñarol. What are these clubs going to do? How can they actually compete? You know, they'll obviously give a good game. Like we saw Estudiantes and Racing, they gave really good games to Flamengo. But Flamengo just have that edge of quality. We saw Liga de Quito, 3-0 up, going to the second leg in Sao Paulo. What happens? They shit the bed. They shit the bed. They got absolutely nervous. And Palmeiras just have so much quality. Whether it's a Vitor Roque one day to Alan yesterday. By the way, that Alan guy yesterday against Liga de Quito, one of the best performances I've seen in a big knockout stage game. Kind of like Neymar in the remontada at the Camp Nou against PSG. So it's just this quality that the Brazilian teams have. It's just overpowering. And I feel bad for the other leagues, but also like the Argentinian league has no excuses. For the massive clubs like a Boca, like a River, like a Estudiantes, to Racing, to so many big clubs in Argentina, they are run so poorly. They have no financial capital to attract players. They'll just get a 36-year-old Marcos Rojo and he'll screw over your team. Or you get Cavani, who will just miss open chances. Or you bring back some old River Plate players and you realize, oh, they were washed. Even in Europe, they're still washed when they come to Argentina. So I really have no sympathy for the Argentinian clubs because this mess is created by them. Poor recruitment, poor financial stability. Even though River, you know, they spent a lot of money on players, but it's just poor recruitment. Look at our Brazilian teams. They spend money, they have the right recruitment. You know, like a Vitor Roque, for example. Vitor Roque wasn't working out in Europe. Palmeiras took a chance to bring him back to Brazil, and I think he's overall been a huge success, and that's why we're going to see another all-Brazilian final between Palmeiras and Flamengo. And I mean, another way you want to describe the financial power of this whole situation is the prize money. Look at the amount of money the Brazilian clubs make winning the Brazilian Cup, winning the Brasileiro, compared to Argentina. I mean, it is so laughable how the marketing and the financial power between the two leagues, because obviously those two leagues are by far the biggest in South America. It's night and day, the competition. It's like taking the Premier League and maybe taking the Belgian League at this moment in time. At least Serie A, at least they have some prize money, La Liga, Bundesliga, Liga. But the Argentinian league has no match right now to the Brasileiro, and this will not be an overnight fix. This has to be now a strategic planning from the Argentinian FA to bolster the league, to make it stronger again, so that you can compete against, like look at Liga de Quito. They don't have like financial capital. They don't have a squad that can go up against Palmeiras, but they took advantage of the first leg being at home. They gave a good game in the second leg, and then obviously just Palmeiras with an incredible comeback. I don't know what to say. I said this last year on Twitter. Remember to follow me on Twitter. All those links in the description down below. I said it. It's 6 years and it's only going to continue. And then I repeated the same thing yesterday when it happened that the 7th year in a row, we're going to see a Brazilian team win. Might as well just call it the Brazilian Cup, people. What's the point? Do we call it like the State of Rio Cup or State of Sao Paulo Cup? Because obviously it's between mostly those two states within Brazil that are competing for the Copa Libertadores. I don't know which team could really derail this. It might be like Bolivar, and Bolivar have all of the second legs at home. That might be the only way, because other than that, it ain't gonna be Nacional. It ain't gonna be Peñarol. It ain't gonna be Boca. It ain't gonna be River. It's gonna have to take a minor miracle to see a non-Brazilian team win in the next 3 to 4 years. Now, does CONMEBOL care? I don't think so. We guys know that organization is terribly run. Alejandro Dominguez will do nothing to help with his company because he realizes the Brazilian teams bring a lot of financial capital to CONMEBOL. And I want to repeat this. This is not an attack on the Brazilian league or the clubs or the fans, because did they do anything wrong? No. They just have smart business. They've used the TV money well. They get all the sponsorship in front of their kids, wonderfully marketed, and they get all the money from it. So the Brazilian clubs have just made themselves stronger. Whereas other leagues, they've continuously effed themselves over. And now we've gotten to the point where all the best talents in South America, they either go to Europe or they go to Brazil. Now, will this Brasileiro dynasty end anytime soon? I mean, hopefully, because I just want to see some competitiveness within CONMEBOL. But in reality, this is only going to be the beginning, people. We're going to see dominance that we've never seen before. And I'm serious about this. This might be like the Mongolian Empire when they almost took over all of Europe. Because what we're going to see on November 29th in the Estadio Monumental in Lima is just another Brasileiro Cup final between Palmeiras and Flamengo. Kudos to them. Two amazing teams, of course, but this is not going to look good for CONMEBOL image. But let me know your thoughts, people. When will this dominance end? Which team can end this dominance? And who is actually going to win this final between Flamengo and Palmeiras? Great final anticipated. Obviously, whoever wins that final will become the all-time Brazilian team with the most Copa Libertadores. So
No, pero además eso igual también habla de los momentos que están teniendo River y Boca, que claramente no son competencia ni siquiera en el torneo local, ¿no? Que no
Sí.
están tampoco como suelen estar, que son ahí en tope de gama, por así decirlo.
Sí.
Hablando de finales que sí son interesantes, a mí me parece muy interesante la del cruce de Sudamericana, por ejemplo.
Sí,
Ahí
sí,
sí
sí.
va a haber una linda batalla interesante y un Lanús que... yo digo, o sea, hace unos meses largos, la gente que criticaba, por ejemplo, a Pellegrino, les hubieran
Sí.
contado que estarían jugando la final de Sudamericana, se hubieran reído en la cara de
Total,
Pellegrino,
total.
y claramente se ha ganado su espacio.
Total. Y con ese Lanús, ¿no? Porque es un Lanús que sí tiene buen juego, pero más allá de eso, siempre cuando Lanús llegaba a final o Libertadores o Sudamericana, era un Lanús que tenía 1, 2, 3 jugadores. Pero en este caso, Lanús creo que en este caso tiene el jugador, el delantero en estos momentos. Ayer lo dijimos, me olvidé el nombre.
Salvio.
Sí, exacto. Entonces tienes a Salvio, que es un referente, pero más allá de eso es un juego es más colectivo. Entonces me parece que
Sí.
sí es más pareja, pero sí, yo sí les digo de todo corazón, me parece que igual se la lleva Mineiro.
Pero,
No,
o sea,
y...
compañeros, o sea, Meli, ahí para hacer un paréntesis hablando sobre el tema de los millones de dólares. O sea, el Palmeiras y Flamengo, equipos millonarios, de hecho, Cami ahí
Todos los
muy seguido.
brasileños.
Todos son brasileños, pero entonces, ¿será que es ese miedo escénico que tenemos, o sea, los demás? ¿Será que es esa paranoia?
Vamos,
Porque, o
Santi.
sea, porque
No.
compañeros, o sea, si es así,
Pero el
entonces
miedo
que le den la
escénico,
copa siempre al Palmeiras o a Flamengo.
no,
O sea,
pero
tampoco
el miedo
todo tiene que
escénico,
ser dinero, ¿no creen?
del miedo escénico saquemos a Argentina. O sea, ellos
Sí, total.
afortunadamente no sufren esta pandemia que sufrimos
Sí.
más arriba en el continente. Ecuador la vimos anoche con Palmeiras. Colombia la sufrió con Independiente del Valle en el partido de Once Caldas.
Sí.
El miedo escénico, ahí sí saquemos a
Pero,
Argentina, que aunque le falta un poco de fútbol, por un tema de millones, creo yo, pero ellos jamás van a tener miedo escénico y Lanús va a salir a ganar la Copa Sudamericana.
pero ojo que
Sí, en eso coincido.
Dale, Mel.
Argentina tiene esa cosa de que no importa quién es el rival, se va a plantar siempre un equipo argentino. Lo ha demostrado Central Córdoba, que le ha ido muy bien también en las instancias de Sudamericana, y es un equipo muy chico acá. Un equipo que le cuesta mucho, que es de la parte más baja. y lo ha demostrado su director técnico que cuando terminó, o sea, cuando quedó afuera con Lanús ha dado una clase catedrática sobre lo que es el fútbol y lo que es esto de construir un equipo desde abajo. Pero eso sí es verdad, que acá el miedo escénico no está. Cada jugador, incluso acá, en estos cruces que se dieron de argentinos con argentinos, como ha pasado Central Córdoba con Lanús en su momento, no está ese miedo escénico. Salen y lo juegan como si el rival fuera el vecino del potrero o como si fuera el más grande del mundo. No importa, se juega de la misma forma.
Sí, total. Yo quería, compañeros, decir dos cositas rápidas. La primera, de que igual Cami cuando dice la hace diferencia a los millones, yo siento que en cuanto a los argentinos hay que sacarlos a todos de la bolsa excepto a River, porque River, la cantidad de plata que invirtió este verano fue una cosa de locos. Entonces me parece que es más a un fracaso de este equipo millonario que invirtió y no le salió. Entonces, a recalcar eso y lo otro, compañeros, a mí me parece que si nosotros en algún momento recalcamos y resaltamos y dijimos qué grande lo que hizo Liga de Quito, me parece que ayer, a pesar de que sí, Palmeiras es un equipo superior, el pecho se les enfrió un poco, compañeros, porque es que un 3-0 es un 3-0.
Yo creo que
O
se
sea,
los
no es...
comió el miedo,
Uy, pero es que ya después de haber matado al tigre te asustas con el cuero.
Es
tal
que,
cual.
o sea,